Hi everybody, and welcome to Dragons Awakening week 3. Welcome to this glorious week, and we have glorious weather as well. So this week, week 3, is all about the earth dragons, the dragons of the earth and the land. And there is just no way I could do this video inside, it would be wrong, especially when the weather is just so beautiful as well. So I had to come outside to do the video for the earth dragons, and I really wanted to come to this sacred space, to Glastonbury Tor, to share with you the dragon lines here, the dragon energy, the myth and the folklore of the dragons that dwell by the Tor, and also some of my own personal experiences. So I hope you enjoy week 3 and the earth dragons, and I will show you around some of my favourite dragony places in the land. For Earth Dragon Week, it's going to be really lovely because we're going to get the chance to go outside and to connect with the dragon energies where we live. So you don't have to live somewhere where there is legends about dragons. We can find dragons in the land wherever we feel that sacred and powerful energy, and also wherever there are ley lines as well. Ley lines are also called dragon lines, and in Eastern lore they are still called dragon lines, and they are thought of to flow through not just the country but the world. And Glastonbury has a plethora of these ley lines or dragon lines, and they weave through the town, and they meet in several places, and one of those places is at the top of the Tor, or on the Tor. And in later day, these lines have become the Michael line and the Mary line, so the masculine and the feminine. And previously, they would have been the dragon lines, the positive and the negative, the male and the female dragon lines. I don't mean positive and negative as good or bad, just as opposite energies. And they, dowsers and folklorists have done many maps and pictures of the ley lines. And if you do have dowsing rods, I do, and I absolutely adore dowsing, this could be a really great week to go out in there, and even in your own home or in your garden, and do some dowsing and see if you can sense any ley lines or energy spots where you are. You don't have to spend much money on dowsing rods. I do have a pair that I bought from Avebury, the hen shop, which I love, some copper dowsing ones. But you can also you can make them out of coat hangers, of wire coat hangers. But I will show you in the worksheets and later on the page about dowsing and how to do it as well. But when you're dowsing, you are tuning into the energies of the land and tuning into the dragon lines. So where I live, it is very, very clear, because I live in Glastonbury and I live not far from the Tor. It is very, very clear which direction the energy is flowing. And you know, this is a wonderful thing to do, to get out there and to give dowsing a go and connect to the energy and the flow of the land. And this can also help you work and clear and to work with the energy that flows around your natural area as well. So earth dragons, these are ones that we have seen a lot in myth and folklore, and these are the dragons that dwell maybe in caves or in forests. Maybe they dwell under the earth guarding treasure. I think it's like fire dragons and earth dragons are the most depicted in myth, and the most maybe ones that we see or sense manifested in the land and in our reality. We can sense them and see them in sacred places, such as the Tor that I'm standing by, such as stone circles. I've seen the great mother dragon of Avebury Henge asleep encircled around the stones. In places of power, maybe castles, or check the new religious places, sort of not new, but the Christian places, because they were often built upon sacred land that have been dragon lines and power places. And the dragons guard the energy of these places. They maybe store the energy, protect the energy of these places. And if you work with them, you can really tune in and work with the power and the magic of the land. I think that dragons were always shown guarding treasure, not out of any greed, but guarding the treasure of the earth, guarding the crystals that are under the land, and the energy and the water that dwells beneath the land that we sit and stand on. I think Smaug or Smorg in Lord of the Rings is interesting because he came to take over the castle, to take over the mountain after the dwarves had got too greedy and stolen the heart of the mountain. So he came in and took back the treasure after they got too greedy and took too much from nature. So in a way, even though he was a bit of a pain in the backside, he was protecting the treasure and protecting and guarding from people that were taking too much. In Norse folklore, the dwarves often represent humans, so the balance between dragons and humans and the land is quite a precarious one, because we, as we all know, have not been great to the planet and we take too much. And this is why a lot of dragons do not really have walked away from humanity and are not seen anymore, because we've kind of broken our deal and broken our side of the bargain. But there are dragons that do want to work with us, and they are aware that we are waking up, and they are aware that we are changing our ways. And that's why, as I've mentioned before, dragons are awakening because we're awakening. So I've seen, when I say seen, when I say I've seen dragons in the land, it's been glimpses. It's been momentary visions of them, and then you just know they're there after that. You kind of get a bit of a glimpse, a bit of a sight of a dragon, and then it's not something that you can point to other people and say, look at that, unless they're tuned in psychically as well, but you know at that point that there is a dragon, usually sleeping in that spot. So talking of sleeping dragons, a couple of my first dragon visions in the land here were of sleeping dragons. One was waking and one was very, very sleepy and almost looking at me like, what are you doing here? So to the picture of the one that was waking, in front of me, and where we saw a minute ago, is Glastonbury Tor. And I saw in a meditation, in a journey, at the full moon ages ago, a vision of the Tor being one huge green dragon, and that this dragon woke and shook the land and flew into the sky and met many other dragons as well, who all flew towards the moon. And the very next day I went to somewhere that I'm going to show you, in Glastonbury Abbey, to a little chapel, and I was drawn to this beautiful stained glass window, and this stained glass window is of the Tor, and there's Archangel Michael with some lovely rainbow wings and his sword, and he was pinning down the Tor. And then I saw that the Tor was a big green dragon, that, just like in my meditation, and I hadn't seen this window before, that the Tor was made up of a coiled huge earth dragon, and that Archangel Michael was holding or controlling the energy of this dragon. Now, this would be because in Christian times, when they were establishing the Christian or the religion, they would have had to have really subdued the Druid and pagan faith. So dragon lines and dragon energies would have been very well known. It would have been a symbol of the land of paganism, of earth magic and power. And so the image of Archangel Michael controlling and pinning down the energy of the dragons would have been really a very strong victory for Christianity, that they had defeated the dragon energy, that they were bigger and better than the previous pagan faith. So you will find where you see chapels or churches or mounts to St. Michael, they will be places where the dragon line was previously, and still is, there. So the saints often slaying the dragon was obviously the newer religion controlling and defeating the previous spiritual path. But in the chapel image, he's not killing the dragon. The sword is just pinning in and tuning into that energy and controlling it. So that was a symbol that they were able to control the dragon lines, which of course they're not, and no one is. That's a mistake to make, isn't it, to think you can control dragon energy. It can be subdued for a while and the dragons will sleep while we are not in the right space. but that vision, that journey was so strong of the Tor shaking and the green dragon opening her wings, the great mama dragon, and just flying off, free of the control. Now it's interesting as well because St Michael's Tower, I think it's fallen down several times on top of the Tor, the earthquakes, etc. So it's quite interesting that you can't control it, and it's not particularly maybe it's a bit of a maybe the dragons and Mother Nature saying you can't control us. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to give you a few seconds or a minute to look at the Tor and to tune in for yourself and see what you sense when we look at the Tor. Do you feel dragon energy? Can you sense the energy of the dragon, the great mama earth dragon coiled around the Tor? So I'm going to turn the camera around now and I'll see you in a second. So how was that? I could have sat there for ages actually, just letting us all be with the Tor. But do let me know if you felt, saw, or what your thoughts were really about the dragons or Mama Dragon of the Tor. A lot of the dragons of sacred spaces are very old and they'll often be asleep um, because they were there from when people built these sacred places, and that was hundreds and thousands of years ago. And dragons live for a lot longer than people, obviously. They live for hundreds and thousands of years, but a lot of the dragons of these sacred places are very, very old now, and they sleep and they hold the energy and they protect these spaces, and they're respected and loved and powerful. But you'll often see them sleeping or resting, or as very old dragons indeed. Now, another one of my very first earth dragon experiences in the land is by two sacred trees called Gog and Magog. And these trees are not far from where I'm sitting. Well, they're about a couple of kilometre walk, maybe. We may go there another day to show you. I might show you another day. But I'm being lazy in the sun today, so I might not walk there right now. But this Gog and Magog are ancient guardian oaks, and they are the gateway of a processional way to Glastonbury, to the Tor. So there's not so many left now, but there would have been more oaks planted, and this would have followed the ley lines or followed the sacred energy. And Gog and Magog are ancient trees, and they're not particularly alive. Unfortunately, I think it was Gog that got, very, very, very old and wasn't looking particularly alive, but then some fool lit a candle and left it there and set Gog on fire. So even though the energy is still really strong with Gog, there's life in there very much, not particularly looking that well or that alive, but there is still life there and energy with them. And before that had happened, before the fire, I was doing some drumming in between the two oaks, these two mighty ancient guardian oaks of the land. And I was doing some drumming there, I was journeying and leading a group with a journey. And as I was drumming, I became aware of this green earth dragon between the trees, just opening one eye, a little bit like, oh, why are you waking me up? Why are you drumming? What are you doing? Like, I was like, oh, hello. I saw it very, very clearly, this earth dragon there. And yeah, I just opened one eye and then went back to sleep again. And I didn't say this to anyone, but then I was told by another person a few days later. I like how information comes to you when you need it. Just a few days later, someone said to me, there's an old dragon at Gog and Magog and they're dying. They're really old and they're dying. It's very, very sad, but I didn't feel sad with the dragon. I just felt tired and old. But since that has passed, and I do feel that that dragon is no longer with us in that form, I sent an egg when I was drumming there another time, and a new dragon life coming in. So I do feel there is revitalised energy. And in Avebury as well, a couple of years ago, we went to a Dragon Day organised by Val Young. And the amount of dragon eggs and young dragons that I sensed flying around was amazing. Little hatchlings everywhere. So I do feel with this turning time, with this shifting time, there are new dragons being birthed and new energies coming in, and maybe some of the older dragons are allowing their life force to change and to shift as a new era comes in. But there's lots of lovely older dragons there too. But I just thought that was interesting that this dragon had been seen, and I think we have discussed this later with friends that we don't think that dragon is alive anymore, that it has. And again, with that fire happening, it kind of links in, I think, with the transformation and with the change and with the ending of that era. So, and it's funny that when you see these dragons in meditations and journeys, and that other people have seen them too, I always love that, because it's very much a confirmation, isn't it, that you haven't heard from somebody else this has happened, but you've seen it, and other people say, yes, we've seen that too. So the earth dragons guard the sacred places. They guard the processional ways, the henges, the monuments, the graves of the ancestors, and the sacred temples. And they guard the treasure of the earth as well. And therefore, when we're working with them, when the earth dragons connect with us, we really are bringing our awareness to the land, to nature, to the cycles of life, and also very much to our own health and well-being and stability. Because I was going to start this elemental dragon journey with the air dragons, because as I'm sort of pagan and Wiccan, we often work with air first, then fire, then water, and earth last. But I was given very strong guidance that we were going to start with earth. We were going to be grounded in the earth before we go on and going through any other dragon journeys. And I was being shown this is really important, that we ground first, that we become aware of the dragons in the land, and that we become aware of the need to look after ourselves, to nurture and nourish ourselves, to heal ourselves, and also to be in the moment. I found that that's what the earth dragons want us to do, is to be here now, to connect to your breath and to the land, and to really love and nurture yourself. And through there's no point going on these great spiritual journeys if you're not looking after yourself. And this has been a really tough one for me to learn. I can tell you that for nothing. I'm fabulous at not looking after myself, but the dragons are making me fabulously learn this and to put myself first, as we mentioned last week, to face things, but to put ourselves first, to make sure that our nutrition is right, that we're exercising, that we are being kind to ourselves, that we're looking after our health, and that we are grounding, we're going out into nature and grounding and connecting to the land and the ley lines. It's something the dragons feel is really, really important for us to do. There's no point trying to connect with them if we're not looking after ourselves. They'll just roll their eyes and go back to sleep. So this is I think each journey with the dragons, each step we go, it is requiring us to do that work on ourselves as well. This isn't a journey of escaping ourselves. This is a journey of going within and really being present and connecting with the dragons, while also nurturing and taking care of ourselves. So a big lesson for this week is going to be about self-care, nutrition, nourishment, and if you can, getting out into the land and connecting with the trees, connecting with the forests, the woods, the earth, and the sacred places. It doesn't have to be, as I mentioned, a well-known sacred place near you. There could be some woodlands you feel really drawn to. There could be a field that you just feel is sacred, because we never know what was often on the land before we were there. And to call out to connect and see if the earth dragons are there. We can go on walks and we can walk in awareness. So go out on a walk, and if you can, put your phone on silent and set your intention to connect with the dragon energies and all the dragons of the land. And just be aware of places you feel drawn to. You may not actually see or sense a dragon as such, though you probably will. They probably will want to show themselves. But you may sense parts of the land that are really calling you, that feel powerful, that feel strong. So these parts of the land will be rich in dragon energies, and there may well be a dragon nearby. And so later in the week, we're also going to journey to connect with the earth dragons as well, and they're going to help us on our path to manifesting, to grounding, and to healing ourselves. So make sure this is a week where you're going to gift yourself the time to heal. And that could be just lie on the grass and allow the earth to give you energy, or to release energy, release things you don't need anymore. This could be actually going for a healing of some kind or body work. If you can, eat well, and if you can, go out into nature and connect with the dragons of the land, call to the dragons to come and join you, and maybe do something for yourself this week, which is going to help you manifest the things you wish that will make your life better, because the earth dragons are fabulous at helping us to live in a way that's going to be great for us as well. So what I'm going to do is I want to show you the clouds over the Tor before I go on, because I feel like they look like dragons flying. So do you see that above the Tor? It looks like two dragons are flying. I hope I haven't left it too long to show you, because you know how clouds change quite quickly. But I'm wondering if you can see the dragons flying in the clouds as well above the Tor. It looks beautiful. There we go, get a bit of a close up there. So I had to stop what I was saying for a minute to share with you the dragons in the clouds. So back to manifesting. The dragons would, through self-esteem, through self-care, they can help you to bring in the physical reality, the earth reality, that is going to benefit you and also benefit your magical practice and benefit your life moving forwards. We can, as spiritual people, live a bit in the air or a bit in a different element in our emotions or in spirit. And I know a lot of people do then struggle to be here and to bring in the abundance and the physical life that we wish. So this week will be also about having a think about what you want to bring in and to manifest in a physical way. And maybe pick one thing that you want to work on at this time. It could be better health, it could be money, it could be a house. If possible, make it a physical thing that you want to bring in. And we'll sort of spend this week meditating on it and working on different ways, connecting with the dragons, and see how they can help us to bring these things in. So in this Earth Dragon week, we're going to go out into the land. So my big thing for you guys this week is to go out into the land, is to find the sacred spaces that call to you, is to call to the dragons in the land, and to connect with the forests, with the caves, with the hills. These are places where the Earth Dragons dwell, the forests, the caves, and in the hills. And the cliffs as well, and the rocks and the mountains. And to talk to them, to connect with them, to see if they will show anything of themselves or their wisdom to you. But most importantly is just to spend time with them and to let them know that you're here and that you love them and that you're sending them energy and that they're not forgotten. Also to dowse as well, so going out and dowsing if you can. Again, doesn't have to be right now, maybe some point over this course. If you have, or get yourself some dowsing rods, it can be wonderful to just see so strongly where the energy is. And also this week we're going to be looking at self-care, at looking after our bodies. Okay, make sure we're getting enough sleep, that we're eating well, that we're exercising, and that we are really looking after our manifested form, because the Earth Dragons really, they're big on the healing. They're big on us giving ourselves time and space to heal. No point rushing around the next thing until you've dealt with what's on your plate at the moment. It's also going to be a week of working with the crystals as well. So are there any crystals that you have that connect you with the dragon realm? They could be dragon skulls. They could be crystals that you just feel are dragony. Here's my geode he wants to come out today, or she wants to come out today, to see the tour. It's lovely. And also my first dragon crystal ever had was this one. So she's a little powerful power rocket adventurer and loves coming out to sacred places. So yes, working with crystals this week and tuning into any crystals that want to connect, want to work with the earth dragons, or that you feel link you to the dragon realm. So I hope that's going to be fun for you all. Crystals, tuning into crystals that connect you to the dragon realm, that connect you to the earth dragons in particular. So any crystals you're drawn to which feel earthy, which feel to help you connect with the dragon realm, and put them on your altar. And maybe make your altar this week earth dragon themed. If you can bring anything extra onto your altar, such as maybe some earth, a rock, a crystal, a green dragon picture, whatever suits you really, whatever connects you to the land. Maybe flowers or a plant. That could be great to put on your altar for Earth Dragon Week. And look at manifesting, nurturing and healing within yourself, and get the dragons to help you, and to get out into the land and to connect with the dragon energy where you are. And please do share your adventures. I really would love to see the land near you, and maybe any dragon energies you connect with, or dragon places you find. You can often find this lands called Dragon Hill, or maybe Wyvern or Worm or Snake. If those things appear in the title of a place in any way, you can bet your bottom dollar there's some dragon energy there somewhere. So enjoy your explorations and enjoy Earth Dragon Week, and I will see you all really soon. Lots of love from Glastonbury. Bye. So here in this lovely chapel is the stained glass window I was telling you about. You can see Archangel Michael and the spear he's holding, and there's the Tor and the dragon coiled up in the Tor.